Hey, what's up, guys? pTw here, and originally I was gonna make this a live video, but I don't know if my internet's not working or what. Um, the live function on my what's it called is not working. So, we're gonna do this. We're gonna film this video, and we're gonna go from there. So we're gonna film it, and then I'm gonna upload it, and we'll go from there. The point of this video is to kind of discuss the idea of how much a montage is realistically worth in terms of the work that is being put into it. And I do want to clarify that um, I do think there is also value in the work that goes into a gameplay wizard getting his clips. So I mean that's also work as well. Like these guys are going in and playing the game and getting this footage, and they're artists in themselves. So they should also be compensated for that work. If they were to be compensated accordingly to like how much time they put into the game to get the clips that they do get, I mean that's another thing too. There is that aspect of it, where the gameplay contributor, in my opinion, deserves to get paid as well for the work that they put into the video as well. So this is just the editing aspect of it. It's not just the it's not the editing aspect and the gameplay contributor's perspective as well. Um, I do believe that, like a Killionaire and all these crazy clips that a lot of these guys get is not easy to get. And I think if we were to assign a dollar value on, and maybe that could be a video in the future, assign a dollar value on certain clips, that would be another thing as well. But regardless, because it's not just the editing, right, that sells the clip. It's the clip itself and the authenticity of the clip itself. The fact that it's actually able to be gotten in the game, and it's a real thing that you can actually do within the game that somebody did is also impressive on top of the editing itself. So I just want to make that clear that it's not just about the editing. These videos are not just about the editing, that the gameplay is a huge thing. So when I mention how much a video should cost, realistically cost, I don't mean that um the gameplay contributor should be paying the cost of this stuff. I mean that if somebody were to realistically commission me for a video based on the editing and the work that goes into the video alone, this is how much realistically these videos are worth, in my personal opinion. This is not like, this is not, we'll read, I just want to read what I wrote because it does cover a lot of this stuff, but I just wanted to clarify that, you know, um, the client is the gameplay contributor, right? But ultimately, it's almost like we work together to make that video. So, um, the client would have to be somebody like, in my opinion, would be somebody that would be like, okay, I want a video by, let's say, Furion, and gameplay by Furion, and editing by pTw, and I'm going to pay to see that. So I'm going to pay Furion for his clips and pTw for his editing. So this is the editing portion of it. Okay? I don't know how we can assign a certain dollar value to clips, but I imagine it's just as much as I would assign to this, because the gameplay that people get, they're just as passionate about it as we are of editing. So I always want to clarify that my goal is not to dick out the gameplay contributors and the players of the game and make this solely about editing. I do think there's value to the footage that these players and these wizards, these gameplay wizards, get in the game, for us to make our art, and that's what sells it even more. So it's a mixture of the editor and the gameplay contributor that makes a montage a montage. It's not just the editor. I want to clarify that. So with that said, let's get into this. How much should an FPS montage realistically cost? The goal of this is to educate people on the true scope of work that goes into an industry standard FPS gaming montage, and hopefully to assign a realistic value to that work. So again, This is the kind of work that goes into an industry standard FPS gaming montage, editing wise, from an editor's perspective, and a specialist in gaming montage, FPS gaming montages. So, um, my name is Renzo Rignoni. In the gaming space, I go by pTw. I've been editing FPS montages since around 2007, with nearly 20 years of experience on and off, primarily from 2010. Primarily from 2007 through 2010, and again from 2021 through 2026, with work scattered in between as well. I'm making this video to shed light on the kind of labor FPS montage specialists actually put in. I want to be very clear about something up front. This is not about squeezing more money out of clients. This is about respecting the craft. So, again, this is not a video that is intended for people to use at, like, let's say you're a FPS gaming montage editor, and you see this video and you're like, oh my God, this guy's making some really good points. I'm going to send this over to my client, so that he understands the kind of work that is going into these montages and why he should pay me thousands of dollars for my work. No, that's not the point. The point is not to squeeze money out of our clients, because realistically, I mean, who can really, when you see this broken down and you see what the actual cost is, who can really afford this kind of stuff? Only like a very small amount of people, a small percentage of people, like a 1% of the population, can really afford this kind of work to be commissioned out at a realistic price. So I want to make that clear. This is not about squeezing more money out of clients. It's just about respecting the craft, because when I say, this montage is worth so much, and I don't want to be laughed at by people, and people saying, "Oh, you're crazy. Your work is not worth that much." Okay, well, let me break it down here. And it's not just my work, it's the work of others as well, because I'm not the best at this. I just want to make that clear. This is a representation of the kind of work that I put into my videos and the kind of work that I would put into a professional uh craft crafted video if somebody were to commission me for the actual true value of this stuff. So let's go. Let's talk about it. Most FPS montage specialists, including myself, do this kind of work for the love of the art form and the love of the game. In many cases, we edit these projects for free, motivated by the challenge, the creative fulfillment, and the relationship we have with the gameplay contributor. Again, we do this out of the love of the game, the motivated by the challenge, and the creative fulfillment of actually creating these amazing videos that we make, and also for building a relationship with the person that we make these videos for. We have we What I'm presenting here is the realistic scope and value of the work, so creators are better understood and respected. Tips versus real compensation. Over the years, I've received what people often call payments, ranging anywhere from $50 to around $700. I intentionally call these tips, not payments, because there is simply no universe where syncing 50 to 100 hours per minute of video is properly compensated at those numbers. Yes, if you're a teenager or a young adult, $700 might seem like a lot of money for a video. But once you factor in the hours, hundreds of them, spent meticulously crafting a premium montage, that number quickly becomes unrealistic. Let's break this down properly. The reality: how is the time actually spent? So let's break this down. When I say a serious FPS montage can take anywhere from 50 to 100 hours per minute, people often ask, how? Here's how. Step 1. Sorry, my what's it called when my, my screen blacked out. What's it called? Step 1: music selection and visualization. Roughly 3 hours. Music is the foundation of a premium FPS gaming montage. Choosing the wrong track can completely derail a project. Often creators send music that simply doesn't work and we have to start over. When I'm sent a track, I'll usually listen to it on repeat for 30 minutes to an hour just to see if I can visualize and edit around it. Let's assume the first track works, which is rare but possible. A standard montage typically uses 2 to 3 mixed tracks, meaning this process repeats multiple times. Conservatively, that's a route That's about 3 hours spent purely on music selection and an initial visualization. So yeah, um, that's usually how I work. It usually takes a lot longer than this to find the right track for the right tracks for a montage. It doesn't take, it's not just right off the bat like 3 hours. We spend like, there's a consultation and everything that goes into this where there's a whole process where we all talk, me and the gameplay contributor talk a project through and kind of figure out what it is we're trying to make. So, um, I just want to make that clear too, that these are very conservative estimates on the amount of time that this takes to do. So I just want to make that clear. So we've got 2 to 3 tracks that we have to mix, music that we have to visualize, project that we have to visualize as well. Um, what's called you have to listen to the tracks. This also takes a consultation between the player and the actual editor themselves. But we'll say this takes roughly 3 hours. Okay. Step two: music mixing and project wide vision. Roughly takes around roughly 7 hours. Next comes soundtrack mixing. This involves sourcing the highest quality versions of each track, arranging them on a timeline, and blending transitions so the music supports the editor's overall vision. Even with experience, this process can take 1 to 5 hours. Let's call it 3 hours. After the mix is complete, the soundtrack is listened to repetitively throughout the day, across multiple sessions, and across the entire duration of the project. This is essential for polish. Conservatively, that's another 4 hours. At this point, we're already at 10 hours and we haven't even touched the actual montage yet. So, this is very conservative estimates. Um, if I'm like for Project Blacklist, man, like I'm still on the music selection phase. Like I'm still on the music selection phase, and like this is not even taking into account that oftentimes as editors we reach out to other editors for actual advice and consultation. So this is other things that we're not taking it really into account, that we seek out the opinions of other professionals as well if we're really dialing in on a project. But if we're just doing this on our own, we're just saying this at this point, 10 hours for the first 2 steps. um Really conservative estimate there, but um we'll keep going. Step three: storyboarding and draft vision. 5 hours. For a truly premium project, especially one that's fairly compensated, this stage would involve storyboarding and presenting a draft vision for approval. This requires identifying key moments in the music, mapping pacing and structure, defining the emotional and visual arc. Even conservatively, storyboarding a premium FPS montage takes 2 hours per pass. Assuming multiple revisions, you're looking at around 5 hours total. So I was saying to storyboard things, it'll take around 2 hours. Um, and that's per per revision that's necessary. And I mean, we're talking, let's say we do 5 revisions, based on what I send over. You're look or is that 3 revisions? Sorry, 3 revisions based on what I send over. You're looking at roughly 5 hours or so, 6 hours really. But um, that's really conservative estimate, by the way. If I'm storyboarding something, it's gonna take me probably longer than 2 hours to storyboard the entire fucking video. But because I don't want to give you a ridiculous figure on what this should actually really cost, I want to give a conservative estimate on the actual cost of what these montages are worth. We're saying 2 hours per pass, and then 5 hours total for the storyboarding part of the project. Step four: gathering and organizing footage, roughly 10 hours. Let's assume all this footage is provided and no custom cinematics are staged. So right now, nowadays, like guys are staging cinematics and angles, guys. Like this takes time to do. You have to get people to actually help you with that, like people that are into gaming and play the game to help you stage it. It takes time. You have to get the shots right, and then you have to film them and all that stuff. But let's assume all the footage is provided for and no custom cinematics are necessary to be staged for a 5-minute montage. Typically I need around 25 gameplay clips. So like 25 clips of actual like kills that take place in the game. Um roughly around 5 clips per minute, um, and multiple angles per clip, at least three. That turns roughly into about 100 video files. This might be wrong, but I'm just saying the total of the file size should be 5 to 10 gigabytes. Um, I could be wrong, but between downloading, unpacking, converting formats, renaming files, matching angles, splitting clips, and organizing folders, this step alone can eat up a serious amount of time. On some projects, I've had to rename every clip manually, match angles by hand, convert frame rates 60 FPS to 100 FPS, 120 FPS, for example, regenerate every file. Even with decent organization, the stage is at least 10 hours. We're now at 25 hours, and that's still being conservative. Step 5, the edit itself, roughly 250 hours. This is where the bulk of the work happens. For serious premium FPS gaming montages, body editing alone can easily hit 50 hours per minute and often far more. This includes importing and managing assets, creating the introduction, often as complex as the rest of the edit combined. Body editing, pacing, flow, creativity, advanced techniques like audio-visual synchronization, motion graphics, VFX, compositing and layering, rotoscoping and motion tracking. The intro, body, and credits all require different creative approaches. The intro alone can rival the rest of the montage in effort. For a 5-minute montage, a conservative estimate is 250 hours for this step. Um, I could I could talk all day about this. The body of the montage, not taking into account the intro and the credits. The body of the montage is pretty much what I always tried to specialize in. Um, and the body of the montage is, I mean, we're talking heavy editing and a lot of creativity here, and a lot of nuances to this stuff that takes a lot of time to really dial in on and perfect. And I mean, even if you're good, I mean, a good editor, like if you have somebody that's really good with the flow, that's really good at layering, that's really good at pacing, that's really good at putting it all together, right? Like that's really hard, man, because you can have all these things and still have a montage that doesn't flow, right? So the flow itself, I mean, I would say like even just the flow itself, like of the in the body of a montage, is probably worth alone some money just because of the creative aspect of how that goes, how much goes into that. Like for real, I'm not even kidding about that. Like the flow that is used in the flow itself is like every editor has their own flow. So like the flow itself is almost like a unique stamp of like style that an editor puts into it. So in my opinion, that alone is worth some money in itself, but we won't even take that into account. The intro, like that takes just as much effort, if not more, than the body editing. I mean, a good intro is key to hooking an audience and keeping them there, and get piquing their interest so that they can continue watching the rest of the montage, right? So the intro is key. The intro is key. That's not even taking into account any of these like big cinematic moments that every song should have, in my opinion. That's always one big cinematic moment per song, uh, timed appropriately to the climax of each track. So that's not even taking into account any of that. It's just lumped into the category of body work. Um, and credits also, I mean, credits require um a lot of creativity nowadays too. People are getting a lot more creative with the credits. I think it's important to do that. It's important to get creative with the credits and really dial in on the on the aspects of a video that really get overlooked a lot of times. It used to be before, it used to be like all about the intro, and then the body got overlooked and the credits got overlooked, and then it turned into, and also the audio was overlooked. Then we dialed in on the audio, dialed in on the body, but the credits are still overlooked. So if I were to be doing a serious commission project where somebody really paid me for it, like I would dial in on every single thing here, and I would get like really into the nitty gritty of it and really make a sick ass video edit for each component of the montage here. So we're talking about 250 hours just conservatively for this step, and that's being really conservative because it could stretch out to over 1,000 easily. And I'm not kidding there. I don't know if anyone has ever spent 1,000 hours on their montage, but I mean, I see some of these montages and I'm like, for sure, like if I had to recreate this out of just thinking of it in my mind, like without any kind of like example to go off of, like it would take me a long time. So like I'm talking about like, you know, I don't want to name drop any other editors, but all these other premium FPS gaming montage editors, Halo editors that make, killer pieces, like their work takes a long time to like it's not easy to do what they're doing, like it's not easy. Step 7, polishing and drafts, roughly 10 hours. Once the edit is done, it still isn't done. Polishing involves refining animations, adjusting keyframes, color correction, generating rough drafts, reviewing changes. I personally generate a new draft almost every time I make a significant adjustment. This stage easily adds 10 hours. Yeah, so polishing and drafts, 10 hours is completely total understatement as opposed to how long this takes. This is something that is continuously done throughout the actual edit and easily eats up more than 10 hours. And at the end of the edit, you should do this again because you have to go back and refine everything and retouch everything up and polish up everything. And the drafts you have are also key to getting feedback from other people who give you information that helps you make your video even better. um what's it called yeah, this is a key component of the video making process and eats up easily 10 hours of the edit itself. Step 8, finalization and review. The final step is crucial. A proper final export should be sat on for days. Rewatch repetitively to catch any errors, often leading to multiple re-renders. Final render times alone can be brutal. So when we're doing finalization, like a lot of times we render out finals where we're like, all right, it's over. Like we're finally gonna be releasing this. This is the final draft. You render out the final and then you watch it and you sit on it for a little bit. You watch it and you find some errors and you're like, shit, I gotta go back. That final render took like, you're rendering 4K, you're rendering, at least 1080p, I'm guessing. And you're actually rendering the final piece, that takes about like at least an hour or so, depending on your system to generate. So, um, you're talking about repetitively regenerating videos like that. Like you're looking at least 10 hours of doing it if a finalization, refinishing, retouching up the video and stuff for any errors that you may find, any kind of new ideas that you may have, any kind of things that you want to refine and polish up. So the finalization is conservatively 10 hours. So let's add it up. Let's add everything up conservatively. This is a conservative estimate. I keep saying conservative, but it really is. It really is. The math, let's add it up. Step 1, 3 hours. Step 2, 7 hours. That's 10. Step 3, I can't count today. Step 3, 5 hours. That's 15 hours. Step 4, that's 10 hours. That's 25 hours. Step 5, 250 hours. So you're looking at 275 hours already. Step 6, 5 hours. Step 7, 10 hours. Step 8, 10 hours. That's another 25 hours. You're looking at roughly 300 hours for a 5-minute FPS gaming montage. Now let's apply rates. Let's look at rates. Let's talk money. Let's talk money. This is what everybody came for, right? Let's talk what it's actually worth, right? So 300 hours, roughly 300 hours, we'll say 300 flat, right? Not hours. If we were to be getting paid minimum wage of $15 an hour for this video, we're looking at $4,500 minimum at minimum wage. Now, I got to ask you, are we do we got minimum wage skills here? No, because you wouldn't get commissioned out for this kind of work at the real cost of the work if you weren't actually really fucking good at it. So minimum wage is bullshit. You'd never get paid this in any amount, but the minimum you should be getting as an editor for a montage should be around $4,500, $5,000 roughly, for a montage. But that's the minimum. That's the minimum for this kind of work. I mean, I'm stressing this. The low professional rate, let's say, is $30 an hour, which is really not much nowadays, guys. $30 an hour at 300 hours is $9,000, guys. So that's not taking into account creative value, artistic reputation, the editor's name attached to the work. And so realistically, a serious premium FPS montage easily exceeds $10,000 in value. Um, with that said, I mean, this doesn't mean you're gonna go and charge. You can go and charge $4,500 for a montage. This just means that for if I were to be, if I like, I use myself as an example. I consider myself pretty good at this. Um, what's it called? Not the best, but pretty good. If I were to be getting paid, if somebody would say, I'm gonna really pay you for this, I'd expect a minimum of at least $4,500 or $5,000, whatever. A minimum of that for the montage. Anything else below that is just a tip. And it's just a tip, guys. It's just a tip. It's not, you could give me $2,000. I'd be like, oh, well, thanks for the tip, because that's, you're at that point, you're literally paying like $8 an hour for the work, or like $5 an hour for the work. So, um, and maybe you think I'm making this up, but I'm really not. I'm really not making this up. This takes a long time to do. I'm sure you've seen guys like, we might say Silly Goose has edited a video in like 10 hours or whatever, speed time lapse or whatever, and edited this like really dope video in like 10 hours in a time lapse style. Dude, I don't know very many people who can do that consistently. So that might have been a one-time thing he was able to do, but I don't know if very many people who can sit through and edit a montage all the way straight through and actually have it be like this premium level edit, like really, really good. So that might have just been a one in a lifetime shot there. But for everybody else, I know they take their time crafting this out, and there's a reason for it. There's a process to this. You can't just do all the work in one day, or 2 days or 3 days or whatever. The video suffers because of that. And I've done great videos in a short amount of time that looked really, really good. But could I have made them better? Of course, if you give me more time. If you give me more time, like, I will make them a hell of a lot better, and they would be dope as fuck. But those kind of videos are not the standard that I'm talking about here. Um, what's called final thoughts. I hope this video helps people understand better and appreciate the work FPS gaming montage specialists put in. We don't do this for the money, we do it for the art, but the art deserves respect. So I want to leave you guys off with that. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.